The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Y'all ready for this?
And now, coming to you live from MainEventMadness.com and brought to you by Spreaker, it's Main Event Madness. Our wrestling, your sports, simply madness. And on that note, here's your hosts, Al Merriman and John Curry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Main Event Madness, episode number 9, and it is December 6th. We're a couple days late. 2014. Conspicuous by his absence is Mr. Alfonso Merriman, who's under the weather right now. If you follow his Twitter, at AlmeMadness. He's been updating it throughout the week, telling people that he didn't think he'd be able to make the show because of how sick he is. But nonetheless, I'm here. You know, I get to hold down the fort, do whatever I can, but I don't get to go to war alone. I got our new, I guess you could say, colleague, Mr. Matt Breeze. How are you, sir?
I am good. How are you? How is yourself today?
I'm not doing too bad. I got the weekend off, so, you know, it's a little bit different feel. It's not a Friday, it's not a hump day, it's a Saturday. So, I don't have any sound clips for that. It's a little bit depressing, but like I said, we're a few days late on this, and it's a little weird for me, because if you guys listen to the show throughout our, almost 10-month run already, Al's been here every show, and I've missed a couple of them. So it's going to be weird, but I don't think it's going to be a bad weird, you know. Best of wishes to Al. Feel better soon. You're on the clock. You need to feel better by Wednesday. We're doing another show Wednesday. Calling him out. He won't be able to hear this for a while because we're not live. But, so, what a week it was for, both for sports, for wrestling. You know,
It's been kind of crazy, actually.
We're on the cusp of the, I guess you could say, the 6th annual, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 7th annual Slammy Awards, at least when WWE started paying attention to them again. And I already told you some of the categories. Are you excited for the Slammy Awards coming up?
Can't really say that I am. Last time the Slammies were relevant was when Owen Hart won 2.
Didn't Triple H win one for like best hair or something like that?
Probably. I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, Jesus. But, yeah, we already talked about some of the categories. Alright, so right now, the updated list of categories as of Thursday, Best Twitter handle or social media champion. This is exclusive to the Raw pre-show. Match of the Year, Diva of the Year, Superstar of the Year. This is Awesome Moment of the Year. Is that like the shocker? Or the...
I'm going to have to assume so. I mean, instead of the OMG moment or whatever.
Oh my God! Sorry, that was my horrible Joey Styles impression. These next two are exclusive to the Raw pre-show as well, which is kind of BS in my opinion. Rivalry of the Year and Tag Team of the Year.
So those both seem like they should be something that we should be on Raw.
Exactly. And, you know, maybe this is Awesome Moment of the Year. You could have put on the pre-show. I don't know.
Absolutely. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get viewers to the network.
That could be. But, you know, if you had to pick a match of the year, let's run these down really quick. Because we're not going to be on here before the Slammy Awards air this Monday. If you had to pick a match of the year, what would you pick?
Let's see. Match of the year. Well, there's the one I want to pick, even though the one I want to pick is John Cena, Brock Lesnar the first time around. Just purely due to the fact, you know, my sometimes irrational hatred of John Cena. But I'm not sure. There's a lot of good matches to choose from. So I mean, that's kind of a hard one, actually. one of the few years we've actually had a hard, a lot of matches to actually choose from. I guess it's all comes down to what they give you. You know what I mean?
You know what's weird though? Also from it is for once, you can't exactly put the Undertaker in that category.
That's true.
Usually,
I was gonna say, we don't have our normal players this year.
No, we don't.
You don't have a Taker. You don't have all Cena or Punk. I mean,
nope. I mean, you got Triple H backing it a little bit if you count his match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, which I would definitely vote for if that was an option, because just based on the story behind it.
But you'd almost have to give that to the main event of that night. I mean, him in the triple threat match. I mean, probably, match-wise, as a standalone, the Triple H match is probably better, but I mean, you can't discount that crowd for that main event. The crowd, the feeling, I mean, overall, it's just great work in the ring.
And I mean, would you consider those two separate, or would you put them two in the same? Considering all the major players were basically involved in both matches.
I would consider them just part one and part two, but I mean, seeing as they are two separate matches, you almost have to consider them two matches.
And, I mean, there isn't really anything else. I mean, Cena, the last few years, has had some decent dance partners, and that's not slighting Bray Wyatt or Seth Rollins or, that's all he's feuded with, right?
What was that?
No, I was saying Cena hasn't had, this year is different for Cena. I said he hasn't had really any, blow-up dance partners. And I said that's not slighting Seth Rollins or Bray Wyatt. I mean, I think that's all he's feuded with this year.
Yeah, outside of, you got Seth, Bray, and Brock,
Randy
pretty much
Orton.
all he's done. And he's taking a back seat, I mean, yes, he did beat Bray at WrestleMania, but, I mean, he's pretty much taking a back seat in all those feuds.
So in some regard, it kind of seems like the future's coming. Cena's not. Yes, he was WWE champion, but as we've talked about, that was strictly, at least in my opinion, strictly circumstantial. At the time, you're not going to put it back
Absolutely.
on. You're not going to put it back on Randy. You're not going to put it on Roman Reigns and not even risk, but lose out on the huge WrestleMania moment.
Oh, absolutely not. And I think it was just a good strategy move. I mean, because now you have Brock beat him so handedly, and it just makes Brock look all the better. So whoever beats Brock is just going to look that much better when they get there.
Yep. And I think Diva of the Year, we're both in agreement. It's, at least in my opinion, it's one of two Divas. You're hands down who it is.
Well, Diva of the Year for me is Paige.
And,
you know that.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, I'd be okay with giving it to either Paige or AJ.
Absolutely, but nobody else.
No. I'm trying to think. These are all fan votes. They're all on WWE.com and the WWE app or something like that. And there hasn't really been anybody else. I mean, Naomi had a flash in the pan.
I was going to say Bree's name's probably going to get thrown in that hat, but with whatever happened at the pay-per-view, that probably won't go well.
What a horrible storyline that turned into. They had something there, and then they, out of nowhere, just decide, we're going to turn Brie Bella heel.
Yeah, I don't fully comprehend that move, because that literally came out of left field.
So
like, all of a sudden, she's against her sister all this time and all this, and then just randomly decides to line with her. I don't know.
I don't get it.
From just a logic standpoint, it makes no sense.
Nope. And I mean, you could argue, they had a plan all along to get the Bella or the title back on the Bellas, and they were willing to do whatever they wanted or whatever they had to do it or something like that. But it still makes no sense. And what also is going to be interesting is the on-screen characters of Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella were together. They were using the marriage as a real-life angle, or not real-life angle, but an angle on TV. And with her being a heel and him being a babyface, I wonder how they're going to go about that, or if they're going to randomly turn her babyface as soon as he returns.
Knowing the way they've been using the Divas division, they'll probably just have her magically appear as a babyface.
Tag team of the year.
Tag team of the year. That's a tough one too. I'd almost say Golden
I
Stardust.
was gonna even say that, yeah. Because I mean, whether they've been, that little break for a month or whatever, they've been tearing it
Right.
up. They're two-time tag team champions this year. I mean, granted, they won it in 2013 for the first time, but they still were tag team champions twice, and twice for a good
Yeah.
chunk of the year too. I mean,
who else is even a contender in that? I mean, the Usos, like.
well, the Usos got to be because they were champions for about 6 months.
Right.
So,
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's only a 2-horse race. I mean, like, it's not like the Matadors are going to get voted as the best tag team.
and they're not going to want to pay attention to, the Wyatt family. Now that they split them up, they're not going to put them back together for a Slammy Award. They're not going to mention the Real Americans since they're both one's heel, one's babyface. So I mean,
although maybe Dark Horse, Miz and Mizdow.
Miz and Mizdow, yeah, and that I think could be
maybe that leads to a breakup.
Huh?
I said maybe that leads to a breakup. I mean, they've been teasing it for the last month or so now. So,
and I think that's a really strong Dark Horse too, because I mean, all the fan support that Damien Mizdow is getting right now. I hope this leads to something for him. Excuse me.
I hope. I mean, I loved this first run as the intellectual savior. I don't know why they got off that when they did, but
I wonder if they just see something like, good, this is making money. Now let me put my twist on it. Damn it! And then, your twist didn't exactly work.
Yeah, I mean, that probably is more of it than we know, but still, you think if something was working, you don't want to change it.
You know what's kind of funny, though? A lot of people compared Mizdow to Triple H, the old Connecticut Blue Blood Hunter Hearst Helmsley character. And if you look at the timelines for it, them breaking away from their gimmicks and them going off into teams and stuff like that, they're almost like mirror images.
They are, except for when Triple H broke off from that. He went to DX, and
he had a team with Shawn Michaels.
Sandow just went to, the road with Cody, and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Well, not even that one. I mean, if you even want to give Miz and Mizdow that spot, Triple H teamed with Shawn. He teamed with the Miz, and I don't know. I think Sandow could be something awesome if they give him a chance. And a babyface run is going to be interesting because I always thought he would be better as a heel character.
Well, he just comes off better as a heel. But, I mean, we've really only seen him in the, more recently, the last year or so, he's been doing all the parodies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've only seen him as a heel, so, I mean, we'll see what happens, what he does as a face.
I think the biggest thing, though, excuse me, is what kind of gimmick they give him.
Right.
And
that comes down to most people. I mean, you could put Shawn Michaels in anything, but he'll have good matches. But if you have him dressed up as Mantar out there every night, nobody's going to care.
Oh, that's a name drop. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
But, no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's to me is the more interesting part is whether they keep him heel, keep him babyface. But once this Mizdow and parody character runs its course, are they going to turn him back to the intellectual savior of the masses? I mean, which, in my opinion, even with the casual fans, would probably at this point be a babyface character. Because, I mean, even towards the end of that... It
depends how he played it.
Huh?
I said it depends how he played it. I mean...
Mm-hmm. He could definitely do that character as a babyface. But...
What was that?
I said he could definitely do that character as a babyface.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, even towards the end of his run as the intellectual savior of the masses, they were doing the "You're welcome" along with him, and silence, and all the little remarks that he would make. The crowd was doing it with him.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he was getting over it. That, and again, that's why I just never understood why they canned that as quick as they did.
Lord only knows, a lot of things WWE. We're gonna get into that in a couple of minutes. You know the funniest thing, and Mizdow's obviously, or Sandow's obviously doing this Mizdow character to get over. I still say the funniest way for somebody in WWE to try to get over was Zack Ryder's True Long Island story.
Absolutely.
When he's hopping the fence,
But I mean,
I'm trying to get over. I gotta
what?
get over, man. I gotta get over. Pushes him. Nobody pushes Zack Ryder.
He's the one that started all them with the social media too. I mean, in a lot of ways, Zack Ryder was way ahead of where he should have been.
Yep.
Because I mean, he started with Twitter and all that, YouTube, and I mean, he started his whole gimmick there with the Jersey Shore type guy even before Jersey Shore was on.
Yep.
So I mean, he was ahead in all that.
I was just watching that the other day too. Not Jersey Shore, but Zack Ryder's Broski character debut.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow.
I can't say I've seen him debut it. I can't say I've seen that.
It was on ECW. He was talking to Tiffany, and then he faced Finlay. Which in that day and age, when you don't have Hardcore Holly, man, if I'm a rookie, or at least rookie character, I don't want to face Finlay.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, if you're a wrestler and you had to pick, who would you, if you had to pick your first opponent, would you pick Hardcore Holly or would you pick Fit Finlay?
Still rocking a hard place. You're going to come out bruised either way. So I mean.
I almost think it would be worse with Holly.
Oh, probably.
Holly was just I'm sorry, but just a dick to all the new guys. And there's rumors now that John Cena's the same way, or at least not exactly the same way, but he ribs the newer talent, he gives them a hard time and all that stuff. But
somebody's got to do it.
You got to have fun with the new ones.
What was that?
I said you got to have fun with the new ones. If you can't, I mean, then what's the point of it?
Exactly. There's no reason for a rookie if you can't have fun with
them. Let's see. All right. Last one we'll run down here. Rivalry of the year.
I almost have to give that to Rollins and Ambrose.
Yeah, I would definitely vote for that. Another one, we didn't get it nearly as long as I wish we could have. I wish this was a WrestleMania match. Was the Wyatts and the Shield.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean,
that was one that I don't think they ever fully explored that, and they really needed to.
And that's the great thing about all these guys being relatively young, is at some point, they're going to reunite the Wyatt family. At some point, and it's already been, reported that at the end of next year, sometime or in 2016, they're going to bring back the Shield.
Right.
So, I mean, at least provided the six of them stay on the up and up, and they stay in the straight and narrow, and they keep their act together, then, I definitely think we'll get at least a better example of it, because, one of them's going to get back together, and one of them's going to get back together as the babyface group to stop them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that just writes itself.
Yep.
And if they don't do that, that's a mistake on WWE's part.
But I mean, what other decent rivalries? I mean, obviously Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan finally coming to a head at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which I don't think a lot of people gave that feud the credit that it deserved. Because
I think people were just more
sick of
looking at wanting to have Daniel Bryan there than anything else. And they really didn't care how he got there.
And,
they just wanted him with the title.
Looking back almost a year later, it's one of those things that it's a feud that people bitch and bitch and bitch Oh, there's no long-term booking. Oh, there's no long feuds anymore. Well, I mean, they gave you a 7-month feud, and oh, now it's, oh my God, forget this feud.
Right. Well, that's what kills me is everybody shit on it, and I'm like, guys, you got to give it time. I mean, Brian was clearly over.
And they knew it.
It's just.
I think when he won it, and then they, what's the word that they used? Um, put the title in abeyance, which.
Oh yeah.
Hats off to Triple H for using a word that's never been used before in WWE and will never be used again. I think they used that as a test, with Daniel Bryan winning the championship. Is this something we want to explore? Because I don't necessarily completely buy in to they changed the feud on the fly. Granted, CM Punk leaving had a major thing to do with that.
Absolutely.
But part of me thinks that was one of their plans. Especially when they saw the reaction he got at Night of Champions that year, or last year rather, I definitely think, okay, we might be onto something here. And oh, go ahead.
You have to assume so. I mean, I would like to think that they would know it. You know what I mean? Know what they're doing more than to just be like surprised by this and be like, oh well, now we're a month from WrestleMania. I think we should change this.
I still think, before Punk left, I wish we could have gotten a Punk versus Daniel Bryan, at least this incarnation of the Daniel Bryan character. I think that would have been an amazing program.
That's something they probably would have held up for a bigger show, either SummerSlam or Mania or maybe even the Rumble. But
a feud like that could have gotten Punk his elusive WrestleMania main event.
Oh, I mean, you say that you built all the way to that for, well, now we're going on 31 if Punk was still there. I mean, imagine what kind of heat that rivalry would have by the time we hit the Rumble.
But, no, it's one of those things we may not ever know because, obviously everybody knows he walked out. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Punk, we haven't been on the air since before Thanksgiving. So, yes, we're a little bit late on covering this, guys. CM Punk, if you guys don't know, appeared on, I'd love to know what rock you're living under. CM Punk appeared on Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast. And I don't think I've ever had 2 hours go by so enjoyable and so quickly. Because it's almost like your eyes were opened up to a new aspect of the WWE that you never really knew before.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it was so much enjoyable as just enlightening. You always hear the road being hard to travel and them fighting through injuries and all this. But I mean, I guess you really, I never really knew, exactly how far that ran. And to hear him talk about it, I was flabbergasted.
And, him calling out, Triple H wants to kill him. That was a quote. Vince is upset but wants to work with him again. And I'm just trying to think, I'm having a brain fart here, some of the major things. The biggest thing I think for me was the staph infection.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know how legally they could let that go. I mean, that just seems wrong on so many levels.
I mean, if
they just let that go and just kept pumping. By his account, they just kept pumping full of Z-Packs.
By the way, speaking of Z-Packs, did you see the meme that somebody made? Like WWE Shop was selling a Z-Pack.
What was it? WWE
Shop was selling a Z-Pack.
No, I didn't, but that's great.
That's one of the few things in the podcast I don't know if I agree with. I mean, you have a doctor who's legally responsible for your health and your well-being, and I find it very hard to believe that a doctor doesn't know what a staph infection is what it looks like. And if he doesn't know or does know what it looks like, I have an even harder time believing that he wouldn't try to treat it.
Right. I mean, because that's life-threatening. I mean,
Absolutely.
if it was, I could see if it wasn't something as serious, but he literally could have died on the road at any point.
And I don't think WWE is stupid enough to have a doctor that would be so okay with putting the lives and the well-being of the superstars. Yeah, whatever. You're fine. Here's a Z-Pack. You're good to go. Like,
right.
I just don't really believe that, that WWE would have it out to kill him. That was kind of the gist that Punk was trying to get across, at least to me.
Right.
And it's like,
well, that's something you got to take into account, whether that was just him and sour grapes, or if this is something that really happened. And if it's something that really happened, I mean, I think legally we need to look into it more, or somebody should, anyways.
Yep, and it's gonna be interesting, at least to me, the fallout. Yes, we've seen some trickle waves coming from it, but nobody really knows what the long-term fallout is going to be of CM Punk. Whether or not he goes to UFC, whether or not he goes to TNA. Jeff Jarrett's starting up Global Force Wrestling. Whether or not he's going to get the mindset. All right. I'm watching my wife, and he talked about that on the second part, that he watches his wife, and that's about it. At some point, I'd like to think that he's going to get that itch, be like, you know what, I could still be doing that, but not want to work for McMahon.
I think he will, but I mean, we've talked about this, off the air, but I mean, I think he'll come back. It won't be for a few years, but I think he'll eventually come back.
Well, this is a little interesting, and I'm pretty sure I'm taking this away from our show that we're going to have in a few days, but whatever. Dana White was interviewed by Jim Rome. Small world, considering what we were talking about the other day. But, and interesting quote here. Quote, he left WWE for whatever reason. He's a huge fan of the UFC. He's been training for a few years now, and he's interested in fighting, White said. I'm interested in talking to him. CM Punk is coming to the show this weekend, and we're going to talk.
I don't know how to take that, because I have a hard time believing that he's going to just let Punk walk in and just go for it. You know what I mean?
I don't think, at the very least, I don't think it'll happen until like the summer next year. I think it'd be hilarious, because doesn't UFC normally do a big show right before SummerSlam? Don't they usually do it like the same week? Or
I was going to say, honestly, I don't know, because I don't pay attention to UFC that much, or MMA in general.
I could honestly see Dana White. There's at least a couple times a year UFC has a pay-per-view the Saturday before a WWE pay-per-view, and have Punk debut at UFC the night before a bigger WWE pay-per-view.
Oh, I could absolutely see that. I just don't know what a 35-year-old Punk's going to do in the UFC ring. You know what I mean? In the octagon.
Hey, you know what? Maybe he wants to be like Batista, and just get his one fight. All right, I crossed it off the bucket list. I got it out of my way. I'm good now.
Well, I mean, that very well could be, but I don't know. I just don't see him. With the quote-unquote standard that I know UFC holds for their fighters, I don't know how they could justify it, you know what I mean? Other than raking in pay-per-view buys.
Was there anything else from that interview that you wanted to touch on?
On Punk's interview? I mean, not really. It's just, like I said, just a lot of the shockingness of what he was talking about. It's just, just made me think.
And, I mean, I know that's got to be a little bit eye-opening for you, because you're, what you're going to be doing is a career path pretty soon, so...
Absolutely, and it's kind of scary to think about, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, does that kind of shake your faith a little bit about still wanting to do it, or?
Yes and no. Yes, on the fact that, I mean, you don't know how much. I don't know how much I really want to put up with like that. But on the same part, I mean, this is something that I've always wanted to do, and I've wanted to do since pretty much I can remember. So I mean, it does, but it doesn't to an extent. It's weird to explain.
No, I totally get you, man. That's something I never asked. I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, but
Oh no,
it was something I was wondering about that.
Although the one thing I am curious about is if any union talk's going to come out of this.
Absolutely. And whether or not I mean he said it in a roundabout way that it almost feels like or WWE especially, but wrestling as a whole should be unionized.
No, absolutely, and I mean I feel kind of I don't know. I mean you have guys like Jesse Ventura that has brought this up since as early as I can, like 91 or 92 when he first left the WWE. I mean, guys have been bringing up the fact that they need to be unionized. But I just think this is going to be more of a prevalent thing now that people can get their mind, with social media and everything, everybody can, speak their mind freely. So we'll see if anything actually gets done out of this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Sorry, I just saw something that kind of distracted me a little bit. But let's move on here. Some interesting news in the baseball world. We're going to do a little bit of hot stove here, guys. If you want to skip ahead, we'll probably be doing this for talking a little bit of baseball off season for about 10 minutes. And coming up after that, we got DNA, Sheamus, and a little bit more wrestling talk and maybe some NFL. We're going to take a commercial break, I think, after the hot stove. So you guys are going to want to stick around. We got some good topics coming up in a little bit. Yeah, so the Yankees, auspicious by their quietness, and now all of a sudden they decided to not even throw their hat into the offseason targets and all that. They launched their hat into it.
Well, if you're going to go in, you got to make a splash, I guess.
And I mean, which deal are you more excited about? The fact that we have Andrew Miller as a setup man, or the fact that we have Didi Gregorius? I think that's his name.
Yeah, that is his name. They're both very intriguing moves. I mean, I don't know. Andrew Miller's a great, you know what he's got. But, I mean, Gregorius is still on the upward swing of his career, so he still has a lot of potential left. He's 25 coming into play for us, so, I mean, if he could play, if his defense holds up, he can get better at, average-wise and stuff like that. I mean, he could be a piece for a long time to be the Yankees, middle of the infield.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of see, I saw a report a few days ago, I guess, the Yankees are kind of cooling off on Chase Headley.
I actually seen that, and I was intrigued by that. But, I mean, there's also the rumor floating around that somebody's offered him, 4 years, $70 million or in that ballpark. I think it was 67 and change, but that's a lot for a plus 30-year-old third baseman.
The only thing I could think of with that, and you're going to hate me for this, they had to have gotten some sort of promising news from A-Rod if they're just going to back off of Chase Headley like that.
That's what I was thinking, and I really don't like that idea. I mean,
don't either.
I think last time I was on the show, we proved that I just really have a hatred of A-Rod. But again, if he plays well, I mean, I don't have a problem. I'm just very weary of it.
That.
He's, 37? Hasn't played in a year? I mean,
almost 2 years. I mean, he played maybe 30, 40 games in the 13th season.
Right. I mean, yeah, he's looking at almost 2 years that this man hasn't played. And he's not getting any younger.
Either that or maybe they're going to... I'd be shocked, but I'd love to see it also. Maybe they're going to, even though they only drafted him 2 years ago, maybe they're going to bring up Jagielo.
That is a very good possibility. I mean, they're talking about bring more guys up and let them fight for positions. So, I mean, that very well may be their mindset too. Just let the kid earn it.
Ooh, I just realized how. Wow, we have Gregorius for 6 years. 6 more years. He's eligible.
We have him for wow. So we have him under contract until he's 31.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. He's a free agent in 2020.
Wow. Yeah, we're basically getting the best years of his career. This could turn out to be a really good move. I mean, my only hang-up on the trade was trading Shane Green.
Mm-hmm.
But we do need a shortstop. So, I mean, it's kind of a surplus. You know, we had the surplus of starting pitching, and we needed a shortstop. So I fully understand the trade.
I didn't know that. He was with the Cincinnati Reds.
Who, Gregarious?
Yeah.
That'd be early in his career.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting, though, is games played. 2012, 8. Obviously, he was a September call-up, it looks like. 2013, 103. 2014, 80.
Wow. But you also have to remember, I can't remember the kid's name, but they have another shortstop that's like 22 or 23. I mean, they have a surplus of shortstops down in Arizona, and that's why they dealt him.
But are you a little concerned that he's never played a full season?
Not really, because he's still, I mean, I don't think they've been injuries. I just think it's circumstantial. Plus, again, he doesn't really have, I mean, his career batting average is like 260 or something like that. So, I mean, if they had a better hitter, I could see him not playing a lot of games.
Well, this concerns me a little bit, but he's a lefty.
That concerns you?
That he's going to try and pull the ball to the fence.
Well, I think he has career like 15 home runs. You know what I mean? So I don't think we got to worry about him trying to pull that ball.
But at the same time,
if anything, I mean, really, I know the kid. I mean, he's shortstop, and he's probably got. I know he's not incredibly fast, but he's still got some speed. He just slaps to the left field. Go the Johnny Damon route of hitting in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, the only thing though is Yankee Stadium is much smaller than what is it, Chase Field or something like that in Arizona.
Yeah,
it's much smaller. The fences are much closer. I think they got about another like 30, 40 feet or something like that on the fences out there. They're a little bit further than the short parts.
Right.
So that's going to be...
Well, that's true, but it's still... I mean, I know a lot of... And I've complained to you about this. A lot of people get hung up with trying to pull that ball down the right field line. He's not somebody who's been a home run hitter, and I don't think he's going to try to change into a home run hitter.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the only thing that was concerning me, is that he's a younger player, and he sees the short porch and right, and he's going to try to be Cano.
No, I mean, your worries are not unfounded. I mean, you also got to look at who's going to be our next hitting coach. I mean, the Yankees are without a hitting coach right now.
Bring in Paul O'Neill.
Actually, that probably won't be terrible. I heard rumors of Willie Randolph actually coming back and doing that.
I love that. I think Willie Randolph's been away from the Yankees for far too long. At the very least, we get him on Yes. If we can't get him as a coach, can we get him on Yes?
Oh, I hope so. That'd be great.
Or, I mean, get Lou Piniella to do some more games. I know he's like 79 years old or 120.
I think the thing with Lou is I just don't think he wants to do games anymore.
I don't know. I'm just tired of the same, and getting quite off topic here, guys. But that's what we do in Main Event Madness. We're live, or not live. I'm used to doing that, but I'm just tired of the same group. They have like 4 or 5 announcers. That's all they use for Yes anymore. It's just the boring.
I'm just tired of Al Leiter and Flaherty, John Flaherty. Those two can leave the booth anytime they want and never come back.
You mean David Cohn? Because Al Leiter's not there very often.
Well, no, I like David Cohn. But it seems like whenever I turn on a game, I either get Al Leiter or John Flaherty.
John Flaherty's there like every game. And you know what? I'm not slighting John Flaherty for that. It's awesome that he's that committed. But Yes needs to really shake him up. That's one thing, like SNY, in my opinion, the Mets station has over the Yankees. They have like 8 announcers or something that they cycle in and out. And the Yes used to have that. You'd get the Michael Kay, Ken Singleton, Bobby Mercer, or Jim Cott, Ken Singleton, Paul O'Neill. They would just really shake up the groups.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I know you don't like Michael Kay, but I think they just need. I think he needs to be the anchor of all that.
You know what?
Personally,
I know I've said before that I don't care for Michael Kay. I was listening to something yesterday that totally. I was just seeing his passion and everything else totally changed my opinion of him. Because I
yeah.
guess Mike Francesa was saying that the only reason that Michael Kay was on the Yes Network right now is because A, he's the Yankee announcer, and B, they get to control whatever they say.
Wow.
And Michael Kay went ballistic on it. Like the thing was for about 8 minutes, and the title of it was Michael Kay rips Mike Francesa. Like, okay, whatever. And then out of nowhere, he's like, "Well, it's time to tell some truth, people." I'm like, oh, great. He's channeling CM Punk here. This should be good. But yeah, I mean, that kind of definitely changed my opinion. I know that's an oxymoron,
Well,
kind of definitely, but it did change my opinion of him. And the only thing I don't like is that he sounds excited when the Yankees lose.
I think that's just him trying to draw more, you know what I mean, more quote-unquote thrilling action into the game. Yeah, that's all I think it is. He's just trying to draw people into the game itself.
Yeah, probably. But you know what else is interesting? Kind of shift gears here from the Yankees. The Tigers, who are part of the Gregorius trade, are listening intently, quote unquote, to offers for David Price and Rick Porcello.
I heard that. I was wondering if they're blowing things up in Detroit. I mean, you got, what was it, last year? They traded, or 2 years ago, they traded Doug Fister. I mean, Scherzer walks this year. Now they're looking to trade off a couple more starting pitchers.
Well, they said that the only way they would trade a pitcher is if they have a replacement, and they supposedly Shane Green could be a replacement for Rick Porcello.
Well, didn't Shane Green get sent to Arizona though?
No, it was a three-way deal. Robbie Day and
I thought he
got sent to Arizona. Gregorius got sent to the Yankees, and Shane Green got sent to Detroit.
Well, I have a feeling that's going to come back to bite us.
Oh, you mean like literally every other pitcher trade that we do? Minus Randy Johnson?
Or like, we traded Jackson to the Tigers, and he decided to light us up every time we played
Ajax? Oh, yeah. He still hasn't been a free agent yet.
No, because he re-signed with the Tigers, and then they shipped him off to Seattle.
Did he re-sign with them?
Yeah, I think he came up on a contract like a year or two after we traded him. And then they shipped him off to Seattle, I believe.
And we've talked about this off the air too, Seattle's setting up.
Oh, well, I mean, they really weren't that far out of the West last year if you look at the final standings.
Mm-hmm.
And for the team they had, I mean, I didn't see them preseason-wise. I didn't see them even contending.
I would love to see them open up the wallet a little bit more and maybe go after a James Shields, which is arguably ranked. If you rank the three top pitchers, he's number 3.
No, absolutely. I love big game James. I really would love him to be there, but again, what are you giving up comparatively?
Besides the draft pick, nothing. He's a free agent.
But, well, that's what I'm saying. It just looks like the Yankees are trying to build through the draft and build the farm system up, and instead of just going out and signing all these guys. Because we've proven in the last decade, outside of 2009, that just really doesn't work.
But, as far as the Mariners go, if they could get one more pitcher to back up King Felix, and they got a nucleus of Robinson Cano, Austin Jackson, Nelson Cruz is there for 4 years. That's a very good nucleus to have there, those 4 players.
No, absolutely. my thing with them though is, are they going to keep running into the Angels and the West?
I see. I could say yes, and I could say no to that. I don't think. I don't think the Angels are going to be the Angels for much longer.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be for much longer, but they still got a good 3-year window left. I mean, basically until Trout walks.
Which that's going to be, isn't it like 17?
I think so.
So I mean,
I think it's after the 17th season.
would you see them blow up and go full board rebuild if they lose Trout?
I don't think they will. I think they'll just try to replace him, and it won't work out. The team just won't be the same. I mean, nobody they have signed has really performed the way they thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Pujols, he's been out there for a while now. He hasn't performed like he even did in St. Louis. Hamilton hasn't performed like he did in Texas. It's just not working for him. And I think Trout's the only thing really holding that together right now.
I can't believe how much he's fallen off, though.
Who's falling off?
Josh Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I knew he was overrated, but I can't believe that he fell off that much.
But you also got to look at when he signed out there, he was 32.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like he was a 27-year-old going out there.
Yeah. Do you want to be a little bit depressed?
Certainly.
Mike Trout's not a free agent until 2021.
Jeez, I thought he was coming out way earlier than that.
He signed, apparently he did sign an extension. He's 6 years, $144.5 million.
Oh, see, I didn't think he actually signed that, because I heard he turned it down.
So, I mean, 2021, he'll be 30. I don't want to think about that because I'll be 30, but damn.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think the Angels will be in contention out in the West as long as Trout is with the Angels. And I'm very skeptical about the A's right around now, too.
About who?
About the A's. I thought they were building a team out there, and Billy Beane seems intent on blowing the thing up.
I think he's trying to get as many draft picks or something as he can.
Well,
or no,
but it's not even that. I mean, with the trade of Donaldson, I mean, they traded Cespedes, which Cespedes is overrated too, but he's still a very good player. But like I said, it just seems like he's intent on blowing everything up right now.
I don't know. Maybe with this whole new stadium deal, maybe the team didn't have as much money because they're in Oakland for another 10 years.
Yeah, you never really know, but we'll see what happens. I can just tell you Brett Laurie's not a good replacement for Josh Donaldson.
No. And I'm a little surprised also Billy Beane's had his job as long as he has. As many losing seasons as Oakland's had.
Yeah, but whenever anybody starts to question his job, he puts a team together like he did last year to get him in the playoffs. And then everybody has hope that, quote-unquote Moneyball is going to work again.
What an awesome movie that was.
Oh, it was a great movie.
But, all right, let's move on here from Hot Stove here. We'll get back our wrestling listeners now. I don't think, if they didn't want to listen to us blab about baseball for the last 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
You mean they didn't want to hear our commentary on announcers for a baseball game that they probably don't watch anyways?
Yes, that's exactly it. Here's another thing really quick, touching on CM Punk before we move on again. MMA fighter had some choice words. Phil Baroni. Or not Phil Baroni, who is it? Who said it? I don't see who it is. But anyway, it was Phil Baroni. Okay. He said, and I'm sorry here for the language, guys, this is a quote. Quote, I'll bust you up. Call Coker. Move the fucking needle. Wah wah. Or wah wah. 3H was mean to me. Vince owes you. Wah wah. You're gonna love MMA and that Dana White is so fair over here. Ryback hurt you? I'll break your fucking neck. Hashtag whiny bitch.
I actually read that last night before I went into work, and I was very shocked at the man calling him out.
A little interesting.
I mean, what?
I said it's a little interesting.
It very much is. And I mean, doesn't that dude work for Bellator or something like that?
Yep.
And I see, that's what kind of makes it weird. I don't know if it's his true feelings or if he's just trying to lure him down there, to there.
Mm-hmm. Which it could be.
But either way, it'd be interesting to see that. As much as I don't think Punk would do well in an MMA fight, I mean,
you don't think he would do
that
well?
would be very interesting to watch. I don't think he would. He's just, I don't know. It's a completely different world than what I mean, you can do all the training in the world you want, but then you're going to go up against even the second best company that I think the USA has right now is Bellator. And I mean, I just don't see you walking in and just, kicking the crap out of somebody.
Oh boy, a Zack Ryder injury update. So let's talk a little bit about somebody who's not in WWE right now, who's actually out on injured reserve, if you will, and that's Sheamus. Do you think that this injury helped or hurt his character?
I think it'll help, or it could only help ultimately, because the last time he had a full run, because I mean he was only back for a few months. The last time he came back.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time he had a full run, people retired him by the time he left. He got hurt and left. So I think more time away is going to help him, but I just think he needs an overhaul of his character. Whether that involves him going heel or just getting an edge back, it just needs to change. He just needs to change somehow.
He's been the same character for going on 4 years now, and it's not the same, where you could be Hulk Hogan, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, kind of.
Well,
keep the cake.
He's an Irish version of John Cena.
Yeah, but I mean, you shouldn't want to be that.
No, and ultimately, I don't think it comes down to what he has wanted. I mean, he does need to speak up if that's something he doesn't want to do, but, I mean, something's got to change, because people just don't care anymore.
And I mean, a friend of ours mentioned also that, the way he changed, a lot of times when guys grow beards, change up their look a little bit, it's signaling something. And, I kind of agree with one of your coworkers who said that it was kind of a more villainous look for Sheamus with the mutton chops.
Well, I mean, it's not wrong. He's not wrong. I mean, a lot of people did it. Every time Punk would go heel, he put the lip ring back in. I mean, not to bring it back to him, but people do. I mean, whenever, the whole character change happens, they change something to make them look, quote-unquote, more badass.
Well, not even badass, but I mean, you got to change something. If you're changing your character, you got to change something.
Right. Well, I didn't mean like.
No,
you know what I mean. It's just it's to look more menacing. I guess we'll go with.
Mm-hmm. But
if you're going heel,
I would, if the Authority comes back, which all the talk is right now that they're going to be doing WrestleMania with the Authority winning, and they have the whole stable again. I'd love to see Sheamus go in the role that Batista had.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think Kane can only do so much. I would love nothing more than Kane to get into a feud with somebody. I don't know if you'd turn him babyface or whatever and have him maybe feud with like a Rusev or something like that. I'd love to see WWE go a little bit more 90s on him. And I think I've told you this before, and I'm pretty sure I've told Al this before. Have him, lose an Inferno match. Get quote unquote burned, and have him go away for 6 months. And I mean, Kane's not getting any younger, so, let him come back. Let him have, at least, if nothing else, a variation of the 90s Kane attire. Full up suit, make up for him, make up for him being burned or whatever. And just let him have one more run as the Monster Kane.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, I would like to see that personally.
And I mean, if you want Kane to, who I would love to see retire Kane?
Who's that?
Bray Wyatt.
I think it would be an interesting retirement. I mean,
Bray's
Bray's one of the hottest guys they have right now. So I mean, pretty much anything they're going to put him in is going to be interesting to watch. I just don't see anybody else retiring Kane unless it's somebody like a Triple H to further the authority storyline.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see Bray Wyatt do it in a Buried Alive match.
That actually is a great idea. I just don't know if they do a Buried Alive match in the quote-unquote PG era.
Well, they did one with The Undertaker and Kane.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems like from when they've done that, they pushed it so much more, away from that.
Mm-hmm. I think just if you want Kane to go out the right way, get him the hell away from this corporate Kane gimmick. Yeah. Or even at the very least, have him be corporate Kane until he loses that Inferno match that I mentioned.
Right.
And I mean, something like that would be, if The Undertaker is gone, at least you could kind of pay tribute to him by having him go out against A, somebody who's kind of a new version of The Undertaker, and B, in the matches that he and Kane both revolutionized and put on the map.
No, absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think 2015 is going to be a very interesting year for wrestling.
It almost cannot be, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
there's almost no way that it can just be another boring year.
I mean, we saw, as you mentioned earlier in the show, John Cena is kind of taking a step back now. You have to be blind not to see that it's finally happening. Yes, he was champion, but, their hand was forced. So you have the is John Cena really taking the back seat? Does Cena, out of respect for Flair, not want to win a 16th championship? We'll find that out obviously next year. You got the return of Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. If we get Rob Van Dam back, if they're going to book him better. You got Global Force Wrestling debuting. I mean, we got a lot of stuff next year to make 2015 a very wrestling-heavy year. Is 2015 the final year of TNA? I mean,
I think it is.
I mean, and I'm not saying that because I don't like TNA. And I've said numerous times on here, guys, that I don't like TNA how it is now. How TNA was about 5, 6, 7 years ago was awesome. But how it is now, no. And I'm only saying, will TNA survive? Because you're going from a channel that you got almost sometimes over 1 million views, and with pay-per-views, and then now you're getting less than 1 million viewers, no pay-per-views, or like 3 or 4 or 5 pay-per-views, and no live events. And now you're on a network with 400,000 viewers that only 52% of American homes have channel. So it's going to be interesting, guys. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a little commercial break, guys. When we get back, we got some NFL, we got some more wrestling topics we're going to talk. And yeah, we got about another, what do you want to do, another half hour or so?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so guys, we're going to be back. We'll take a little commercial break. And yep.
So you're cruising around the internet looking for some entertainment. What if I told you there's a hard-hitting, fresh, and opinionated podcast out there covering everything from WWE and TNA to the NFL, the NBA, and MLB? Well, that's reality. Main Event Madness is here. Don't miss us every week on MainEventMadness.com as well as on TuneIn Radio and Stitcher.com. Main Event Madness, our wrestling, your sports, simply madness. From the associate producer of The Wrestler, Evan Ginsberg, comes Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV, co-hosted by Steve Ludwig, featuring legends in sports, pro wrestling, and the arts. Lanny the Genius Poffo, Nicole Bass, Oscar from Men on a Mission, and million-selling music hitmakers like Martha Wash of the Weather Girls and Carol Douglas of Doctor's Orders fame appear regularly, as well as the greatest live indie musicians performing live in studio. Saturdays, 11 a.m. at legendstvnyc.com and madhousetv.com, archived 24/7. You missed the birth of your mother and father, don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends TV. Looking for more than your average wrestling website? Looking for the fastest growing wrestling news site on the internet today? With quality news, results, and more. Wrestling News Report has everything you'd want in a wrestling website. Al Merriman has you covered with the latest and biggest stories of the day from all around the world of pro wrestling. Check them out today, WrestlingNewsReport.com. Hey you. Yeah, you. Looking for quality wrestling news with an international flair? Looking for results and news from around the world? Look no further than Wrestling-News.net. Wayne Daly and his crew have you covered from top to bottom, from WWE to TNA to the top independent companies from around the world. Check them out, Wrestling-News.net.
All right, guys. We are back here on Main Event Madness. We are in hour number 2. I don't know if it's fair to say hour number 2 because we're not going a full hour, but...
Yeah, close enough.
And I don't know why I'm going to do this, but what the hell. What you guys are listening to is Born This Way, the official theme song for WWE TLC, which I told you before we went on the air. I would tell you what the new name for WWE TLC is. And it's it's still TLC. It's WWE TLC. Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
What?
Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
I don't even know what to say to that.
In case anybody missed it,
Spoiler alert.
this is a spoiler, but actually no, SmackDown Nerd. So they're doing Eric Rowan versus The Big Show at TLC in a stairs match.
I don't even know what a stairs match is.
Basically you're using steel stairs to attack your opponent.
Right, but I mean, just the concept of that is weird. Like,
It
it's
is.
kind of like when they do the chairs matches. Like, there's no point to a chairs match. It's just a hardcore match.
If you're doing a stairs match, that's very violent for today's WWE.
That does seem very violent. I mean, it can be. Let me put it that. Let's say that. But how far they go with it, I mean, all depends.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna. I mean, it's just gonna be a bunch of chair shots to to like the midsection. That's it.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like that. Yep. But should be interesting, I guess. If you guys are big fans of Big Show and Eric Rowan, which I'd love to see Eric Rowan destroy Big Show, that's just me personally.
I think Rowan will do. I think it'll be a good match overall, to be honest with you.
Yep. All right, I'll turn the Christmas music off. Matt doesn't like Christmas music, but
I like Christmas music, but we're still quite a ways away.
we're 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
That's plenty of time. I'll play it after this week.
be going in. We're still going here. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so basically my entire computer froze.
Nice.
Okay, now we're back. Okay. Oh, great. We're still recording. All right, guys, this is what happens when you're doing podcasting on, shit happens. But, all right, so let's talk a little NFL. Actually, we just talked baseball, didn't we? So we should talk some wrestling. Gotta love these production notes on the air. It's awesome. Trying to think what else is there. Wasn't really. I mean, see, guys, what this is me being afraid to talk some news because I don't want to take away from topics from our next show. This is what happens when we do show later in the week. So Sting, a little contract update for Sting, has apparently 6 appearances in his contract, counting Survivor Series.
All right.
So he only has 5 more dates. 4 if you, he's going to have WrestleMania, so 4 more dates.
Which I would assume would probably be the 4 weeks leading up to WrestleMania.
That, or I could see it maybe the one after the Royal Rumble, and then not again until the 3 going into the 3 going into WrestleMania.
It's very possible as well.
Because sometimes they try to make those the post Royal Rumble shows a little bit bigger. Some years try to get people hooked for rightfully so. Get people hooked for the road to WrestleMania and everything else.
Absolutely.
All right.
Or an idea, do they stick Sting in the Rumble?
That'd be sick.
I'm just saying, it's another idea. I mean, it is an expanded 40-man Royal Rumble this year.
Which I'm hoping we have some surprises.
Well, theoretically, you almost have to. Which kind of defeats the purpose of surprise if you're expecting a surprise, but...
I mean, you're going to have... I don't even think there's 40 people on the roster that they would put in the Rumble. I don't even think there's 30 people you'd put from the roster.
Not that we care about.
Not that we care about. I don't want to see Heath Slater, which, you know what, speaking of Heath Slater, what an idiot.
Yeah.
Honestly, what a moron. Whether or not he actually did that or not, he's still not going to lose that off his reputation.
Right.
Like, well, people are going to be a little more weary of him. They're like, oh, man, he was the one that assaulted that girl in Atlanta. Ugh.
Right.
So, it should be very interesting to see whether or not they write off Slatergator or something like that, or...
I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I don't know. If they do that, and I think we talked about this the other day, I want the primetime players back.
Yeah. Well, is Darren Young even healthy right about now?
Yeah, he's pretty much ready to go.
Oh, that'd be an interesting thing to do. Is have him come out, take out Slater, and reform the primetime players.
I'd be very okay with that.
Oh, me too. I love the primetime players.
Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
Well, they're just so entertaining to watch.
That, and they were good in the ring, at least together. I'm not a big fan of Darren Young. I'm not really that big of a fan of Titus O'Neil either.
He's not that big.
But collectively, they're not bad.
Neither one of them are bad, though.
They're much better.
They're not going to tear the house down with wrestling skill, but they're far from terrible.
No, we could save that for the Matadors. The Matadors, they need to get rid of the masks and everything. Just go back to being What the hell were they before that? There's
Primo and Epica.
yes, that one. Thank you. Yeah. So another one that's interesting, if you want to talk the TLC pay-per-view, is on SmackDown. Did you watch SmackDown?
I did not.
Darren Young. Dean Ambrose was stretchered off.
Really? Like stretch it off, or?
Well, they did an angle where Bray Wyatt attacked him on SmackDown, and he was stretchered off.
That. Do you think they're trying to build? Oh no, because they already scheduled a TLC match for those two, didn't they?
Yeah, they scheduled that at Survivor Series.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was going to say, I was wondering if they're going to try to throw in a stretcher match or something like that. But I mean, they already planned the TLC match.
Yep. And the Dr. Chris Amon, or WWE's physician, said, quote, "As you saw on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt struck Dean Ambrose in the neck with a chair. As a result of that, he sustained blunt and crushing trauma to the front part of his neck. While there are many vital structures there, including the windpipe and trachea, our initial diagnosis was a crushed trachea with inflammation or tracheal contusion." End quote. After being diagnosed, Ambrose was taken to a local medical facility, frequently known as their hotel, where he will be observed and examined further. It's weird, though, that, I mean, unless he's injured or something, that they would do a stretcher job, because usually stretcher jobs are saved for when people are going miss time.
Right.
So, I mean, we're a week and a half
Well,
away.
it's also kind of weird that they actually, wrote that he went to the hospital. Because, I mean, if you remember the last time they wrote him off due to injury, they said, like, he ran off when they were trying to load him in the stretcher, or load him in the ambulance or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just quote-unquote disappeared, so.
Definitely going to be interesting for sure, what they do with that. Whether I mean, I can't see them scrapping the TLC match unless he's hurt.
Right.
And if he
You'd have to think it'd be a serious injury for them to even scrap it.
I mean, if he was, I mean, who would you put against Bray Wyatt? Would you lose the WrestleMania first time ever and do Roman Reigns?
It's a possibility.
That's another thing that nobody
come back
really
to defend his friend.
Huh?
I said, come back to defend his friend.
Yep. And that's one thing not a lot of people talked about is Roman Reigns said he's returning at TLC.
I would actually not. I wouldn't hate seeing that, actually. I mean, as long as he doesn't go in and absolutely demolish Bray Wyatt, I mean, you'd almost, 99% sure that he's going to win whatever match he's in. But, I mean, as long as it's not just a out-and-out job match for Wyatt, I mean, I think it'd be a great match.
I mean, I'm just trying to think how they would reintroduce Roman Reigns. I mean, if they're not going to do a match, obviously it's going to be a run-in or something, or a promo that's going to set up his next program. Which I don't know if I saw anything rumored about his next program.
Not sure. I mean, it all depends on whether this is going to actually happen or not, too. I guess that's something they're probably going to introduce on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he spoke too soon or something, because, I mean, they haven't promoted it or anything. So it's...
Well, that just might be they're trying to surprise people, too. I mean, that's a horrible way to do it, because you think they try to draw in ratings or something.
Yep.
With a return for him, but...
Which makes the pay-per-views look more like Raw, and Raw look more like SmackDown.
Right.
Sad that it's come to this. Alright, I'm very okay with this match order, actually. If we could actually go with this. Luke Harper versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Eric Rowan versus The Big Show in a Steel Stairs match. I can't believe I just said that. The Miz and Mizdow versus the Usos for the tag team titles. Cena versus Rollins in a table match. If Cena loses, he'll no longer be the number one contender. Which I think that was announced by the anonymous GM on Raw.
Nice.
Chairs match between Ryback and Kane, and then a TLC match, Ambrose versus Wyatt. If we can go in that order, I'm very okay with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would love to see Dean Ambrose main event his second pay-per-view and second out of 3 pay-per-views.
Oh, I mean, and to be honest with you, that card reads something like we're going to look back on in a few years and go, holy crap, we got all these guys together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Plus, I could see them doing something with the New Day. They're not going to debut a faction that you spent a month and a half hyping, only to not have them on a pay-per-view.
Right.
So you'll have a.
Have they got a promo on like live TV yet? Or I shouldn't say live because I mean SmackDown's not live anymore. But
I don't know, to be honest with you. And
the only thing I heard, one of the only things I heard out of Raw actually was that they were part of the tag team action to see who's going to get the number 1 contender shot.
That's right. Yep. Which I'm a little surprised they lost.
I wasn't because, I mean, just looking at it, and a mutual friend of ours was talking, and he was talking like they got buried or whatever. I'm like, they didn't get buried. They're just setting them up. They're just not going to give them the title. They're just setting them up to actually get people to care about them, which I like, because it's going to be a non-title story with them and Golden Stardust, it looks like.
Which, speaking of the feud with, that's right, yes, I saw that. How was that? Maurice, actually, the Usos and Miz now, they kind of had a little bit of a thing going with Naomi and Jimmy Uso, or I think it's Jey Uso, whoever her husband is. And then Maurice made a comment about like bashing Naomi. So I wonder if they're going to be bringing back Maurice.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
No. And she'd be a very welcome addition to the Divas division, which, ironically, is very conspicuous by their absence on this pay-per-view.
Oh. So what do you do with them right now, though? I mean, if it's true that AJ's gone, like all the rumors have said, I mean, you don't really have anybody that's even remotely close to each other anymore.
Well, they're going to do AJ's return match. So that could be an 8th match on the card. That'd actually be a very strong card then. That'd be one of the pay-per-views who've had actually some of the more matches.
Well, it's not going to be a bad card. I mean, like I said, they've separated so many of the divas, especially with the Total Divas and all that. I mean, I just don't see a match that anybody's going to actually, care about.
The only thing I could think of, and I'm very excited by the idea of this, is AJ loses. AJ kind of goes in feuds with, I don't know, I don't want to say Paige again because they just did that for 6 months. AJ goes in feuds with somebody else if she doesn't leave. And Nikki Bella feuds with Charlotte.
I would like to see that.
Because, what other baby...
Charlotte's clearly ready, to be brought up. It's just a matter of time.
And, there's not really many other there's not many face divas.
Not strong ones.
Huh?
Not strong ones.
What other face divas are there? There's
Naomi, Natalia.
Naomi kind of seems like she's feuding with Maurice now.
Right.
I'm
just, throwing out.
Yeah. There's Emma.
AJ is, but, we're just talking about getting rid moving her out of that, so.
Which is nothing to slight AJ, it's just she's been in the title picture for 2 years straight.
Right. Well, not only that, again, there's the rumors of her just taking, whether it's a break or she leaves the company or whatever happens, there's rumors of her walking away for a little while.
Let's see. So there's Naomi, there's Emma, Charlotte. There's nobody really else.
Yeah, not really.
They're all heels.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what they're doing with Paige either, because they seemed to set her up on a roll at Survivor Series that she was going to be a face, but I mean, then they kind of had to get run through, and I don't know.
Yeah,
He's in a weird limbo
maybe
right
they'll
now.
turn Paige babyface again or something.
No.
They'll never go after
That's
Nikki.
what it looks like they were setting up to do.
I don't know. I'm just looking really quick to see. I wanted to look at the roster really quick and see. I can't think of anybody. Where is it? Divas. There it is. Where are they?
Yeah, I can't even. It's sad that you can't even think of most of the divas anymore.
Nope. I mean, that's pretty much where WWE's at now.
Well, because they have left the division so just in a horrible state.
All right, so Alicia Fox, I think they turned babyface. There's, it's Alicia Fox.
No, didn't they turn her heel against Paige? I don't know, no, because Paige was the heel. Never mind.
Hey, maybe they bring Tamina back.
When did they bring her back?
I said maybe. Oh, I don't even know why I didn't even think of it. Give freaking Natalia a run.
Well, I would love to see that, but
I mean,
they seem to have something against her.
I don't know if maybe, yeah. I mean, why not?
Yeah, right.
I forgot about her.
I can't give you a reason why not to give her a run.
You can or can't?
Cannot.
At least let her have a good, give her a little program or something with her.
Well, absolutely. I think it would go well, but again, they don't seem to like to let her get in the ring unless it's on NXT.
Was Bayley's injury legit?
I honestly don't know.
Because could you see them bringing her up as well?
I could easily, because she's another one that seems ready to get brought up. It's just a matter of when they want to do it.
Because there was talk. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Mickie James was talking about coming back. Eve Torres has been rumored to be coming back because they recently filed and I'm pretty sure we talked about this, but they recently filed a bunch of copyright claims, and one of the claims was Eve Torres.
Right.
So that, if they bring her back as well, all of a sudden you got her, Maurice, Charlotte Emma, or not Emma, Bayley. That's quite an infusion of talent into the Divas roster.
Absolutely, and then they actually got to learn how to use them.
I think using the Bellas together like this is hurting the roster so badly.
I don't think it's hurting the roster. The flip-flopping they always do with the Bellas is just, it doesn't help.
And
it seems like they flip-flop them whenever they just need somebody on the other side.
Yeah, at the same time, okay, they're sisters. Okay, good. Let them be aligned like they are, but let them go do their own thing.
Well,
kind of like what Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose are. They have each other's backs. They're brothers, so to speak, but they're not together on, tag team.
No, I absolutely agree, but I don't know if they could survive on their own. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if they're as singles. I don't know if they're over enough to weather that storm. Whereas Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are more than enough, or seemingly more than enough over to carry that ball by themselves.
But if they can't, they really have to stay together. I don't know. I think Nikki's definitely.
You know my feelings on the Bellas as a whole, anyway. So.
Absolutely, but I think if we had to pick, I'd almost pick Nikki Bella over Brie, and that's. I don't know. I just think Nikki has a more well-rounded character.
She does, but I don't know. I feel like they tried to ride Brie for too long on the Daniel Bryan train.
Yep.
And I just think that hurt her overall, that they didn't let her be herself. They let her be Daniel Bryan's wife.
Yep. And I mean, that's the biggest thing that's hurt the WWE Divas is their lack of creative direction.
Right.
Oh, they want models, they want this, they want that. No, just let them go, like when they had Trish and Lita and Victoria.
Well, in all fairness to Trish, though, I mean, it's not like Trish was a trained wrestler when she got started. I mean,
No, she taught
she
herself.
was nothing more than a sports model when she got started.
Which just goes to show you that, the model mentality that the WWE Divas have, they can, if you work hard enough, you can become what Trish was. Arguably the greatest diva in history.
Right. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I hate that people use that as, an example, though. It's just, I mean, like, if you want to talk about trained wrestlers coming in, you can. You could talk about Lita, and you could talk about Molly Holly, and, Ivory, and all the ladies that came before.
Yep.
But I just don't think Trish is an apropos, example of that.
I don't know. It's just, they need something. And I think the more talent they get, it's only going to be better. Whether or not in the next few months or anything, if they bring in Sasha Banks too, who kind of seems like she's coming into her own too on NXT.
Absolutely.
And
I've been a big Sasha Banks fan for a while.
I've heard this before.
Well, I know you have. I haven't expressed that on the air.
So we got the Paige mark here in me. We've got the now Sasha Banks mark in Matt. Al really hasn't, a buddy of ours is a very, very large Natalia mark.
Oh.
I mean, Al really doesn't mark out for too many of them.
He just needs to hitch to a bandwagon and get over it already.
But I mean, there's a lot of divas out there. Maybe Paige's mom is working some of these independent wrestling promotions. Maybe they might get some more independent women wrestlers coming up. They need something because I mean, the NXT women's division is going to be very butchered once Bayley and Charlotte make their debuts, because then you're going to only have Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks and what's her name with Sasha Banks?
Becky Lynch?
Yeah. So I mean, there really isn't going to be that.
See, I don't think they're going to be in that bad of shape, though. I mean, because you still have Carmella, who I know she's not like the greatest, but she's still pretty. She's decent in the ring.
You got Blue Pants.
She's just getting started. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to be left derelict.
You got Blue Pants if they actually give her a legit character.
Wow.
That Asian chick they had against against Charlotte this week, she wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I missed NXT, so you plan on watching that before I went to work tonight.
Man, I'm proud of myself for that one because I don't get to watch too many episodes of this before you do.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually a couple behind.
I'm disappointed in you, sir. Very disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed in myself.
Wait a minute. Brian Gewirtz is still with WWE?
I didn't think so.
Oh, I'm looking at the WWE staff, and I could have sworn he was with TNA.
I didn't know if he was with TNA or not, but I thought he left a while ago.
There was one big writer that WWE had that went to TNA. I don't know. Ryan Ward, the head writer for NXT, just needs to write Raw and SmackDown.
Well, absolutely.
I don't know if I've told you this. I think I have off air. You know who the head writer is for WWE, right? Not just for Raw, but...
No.
Ranjin Singh.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That explains it all, folks.
Pretty much.
I'd rather have frickin' Michael Hayes in there or something.
Well, true, but then our African-American counterparts wouldn't get any TV time.
And he needs to get over that. I mean, we still have freaking Bobby Lashley if you got over that.
Well, I think it's sad that he robbed us of Bobby Lashley.
Huh?
I said, I think it's sad that he robbed us of Bobby Lashley on that.
Mm-hmm. Bobby Lashley would have been, he would have been huge for WWE.
I'm not going to lie, I was, and I mean, the only reason I'm not now is because I don't watch TNA. But I mean, I was a huge Bobby Lashley mark.
Mm-hmm. Like, I started watching him, or like when I started watching wrestling again, when I first started noticing Bobby Lashley, was he went to ECW, stole the contract from Hardcore Holly or whoever it was, and went to ECW. And I'm like, wow! I was like, he just destroyed the Big Show. That's awesome. And then he went and destroyed Umaga. I'm like, wow, this dude. I mean, they say he's the Dominator, but it's like he is like he's just badass. And then he went to...
part of that for me came out of the fact that he really looked like Brock Lesnar.
Who?
And again, on Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like a black version of Brock Lesnar. And I was a gigantic Brock Lesnar mark the first time around.
Well, it doesn't help that he literally used Brock Lesnar's entrance.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of it.
But I think everybody was okay with it, though. A, because Brock Lesnar ditched the WWE and didn't start getting love again until he went to UFC. And B, he was just awesome. Which, by the way, still one of my favorite Cena matches was Bobby Lashley and John Cena at the Great American Bash in 2007.
Yes, it was a very good match, actually.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think we rambled on here, but you know what? That's what we do. It's Main Event Madness. We air our opinions. We give our feedback, our thoughts, our reviews, you know, and we're going to be back on Wednesday. I do not know if Matt's going to be back with us. We'll
see what happens.
See what happens. See how things are going. We'll talk about that in the coming days. But, Mr. Merriman, I am calling you out. You'll be back for Wednesday's show. And, you know, stay tuned. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. At John MEM Radio. At Alme Madness. At MShiz90. Yes, I'm plugging you.
That's all right.
Follow us on Twitter. Wrestling-news.net. One of our major hubs that we're on. Of course, WrestlingNewsReport.com. And MainEventMadness.com. But more importantly, head over to Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. We have a slew of interviews. I mean, we have almost a dozen interviews coming up in the next few weeks and months ahead. So, and we're doing what we can to go in strong. Our anniversary is fast approaching in February, and we're going to try to do something for that. I don't know exactly what we're going to do for that. But it's, you know, it's been a wild ride. We have going on 120,000 listeners, I should say, in about 6 months, which is awesome. We thank you guys, and bigger things are coming in this year. I know we say that a lot, but, you know, being an up-and-coming podcast, I think we can say that. So, thank you, Mr. Matt Brees.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for picking up the ball when Al got sick. You know, we hope that he gets better soon. I talked to him, I don't think it was yesterday. No, it was the day before yesterday. No, it might have been yesterday. I don't know. He sounded really bad, though, so real bad head cold.
Let's hope he gets better.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he gets better, because, excuse me, I don't like having to talk for an hour and a half. I know Matt didn't like listening to my voice for an hour and a half. I know you guys would rather hear Mr. Merriman ramble on for literally, well, sometimes no reason. But, no, I'm just messing with him. But, alright guys, that's going to do it. We'll be back Wednesday, normal time. We got some big stuff coming up. You know, we're going to be
Very WWE heavy show. I know we normally are, but we got a lot to cover this week. We're going to have the fallout from the Slammy Awards, which is also the go-home show to TLC this weekend. We got our final opinions for that. Also, we're going to be talking... we got the big NXT event this week also. NXT TakeOver Our Evolution. And I'm really looking forward to that show. I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely. I've been waiting for this show since the last, quote unquote NXT pay-per-view.
Also, and I don't know if you know. Oh no, you didn't see NXT this week. Corey Graves is appearing.
Is he really?
To give a announcement on his career.
I hope that it's the fact that he's coming back and fighting for the NXT Championship.
I hope so, man. I want to see. I want to see Corey Graves back on my TV here.
Oh, me too. It's been a long time coming.
It has. I mean, if we can get, I still think if we can get, not even a tag team, but we get, I mean, damn, what a roster NXT has. Because, I mean, you're going to have Neville coming up pretty soon. We got Neville, Zayn, Baron Corbin, which they kind of seem like they got a little thing going now. Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey, it looks like.
Yeah, I was going to ask if they had furthered that, because I noticed the last time I watched, Corbin came out and had like his 20-second match like he normally does. And then Bull Dempsey came out immediately afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Baron wasn't even back up the ramp yet, and he came out. So it looked like they were setting up for those 2 days.
Bull Dempsey came out for a match and won it in 10 seconds. And he literally, as soon as he got out of the ring, Baron Corbin came out. And nice. Bull Dempsey didn't even get up the ramp, and Baron Corbin just destroyed whoever he was facing. I forgot who it was. So I don't know if they're going to do a tag team.
Chanting?
Huh?
So is the crowd still chanting or counting along?
Oh, yeah, they counted right along with him. So I don't know if they're going to go a tag team route with these guys or if they're going to do a feud.
I hope they go feud. That'd be great to see. I mean, I'm not a huge Bull Dempsey fan, but I would love to see that feud.
Absolutely. Excuse me. So that's all we got here, guys, on Main Event Madness. We hope you guys join us on Wednesday, our normal time, 11 to 1. We are out. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. On demand, of course, Spreaker.com/show/Main Event Madness, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube. I mean, we're all over the place. Tons of platforms for you guys to check us out whenever you can. We appreciate it. I don't care if you listen for 3 seconds, 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours when we go. Any support is good support, at least in my opinion. So, thank you. Some of you, if you guys don't check us out again, have a great holiday season, whatever you celebrate. And as far as I'm concerned, it'll be a great Christmas for me, and I'm sure for Matt. But I'm rambling. I think I've talked enough. We're out of here. See you guys Saturday, right?
Yes, it is Saturday.
Okay, I don't know what the hell the days are anymore. We're getting old. Yep, see you next week. We're out of here. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss a part or all of today's show? No problem. Head over to maineventmadness.com where you'll find today's show as well as every show in our history. So once again, for all of us here at Main Event Madness, I'm John Curry. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here next time. Have a good one, everybody. So long.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, all.